Now, a poll this week
Yes.
In the Telegraph showing that the Britons apparently would prefer that the royal families talk less about their personal lives and more about social issues. What are your thoughts on this?
I was really quite surprised to read this because I've watched in detail, as we all have, the swell of support for Kate and William and Charles when they've revealed not only the cancer diagnosis, but particularly for William, how tough it's been. He's annus horribilis in a way, without using those words for him. But the fact that they're saying 80% of people want them to talk more about serious issues, whether that's cost of living or inflation or is the government working, I find that rather puzzling. I think that they do actually want to hear more personal stuff from the palace and from members of the royal family because it makes them more relevant. It makes them more, in vogue with what everyday people are actually experiencing, whether it's cancer or bereavement or stress on relationships and the stress in work in general as well. So, look, there's only 1,000 people on the survey. It's meant to be a bit of a litmus test for what other people in Britain are feeling, but I was very surprised.
But it is interesting, though, because the royals do tend to try and stay out of politics.
They do.
When you start straying into things like cost of living and inflation, it's very easy to stumble into politics without actually meaning to.
And the Queen, of course, is very good at doing that, of staying well out of it and keeping things on a very upbeat, focused level rather than sort of delving. And they couldn't take sides with governments or political parties at all.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts on that one?
Look, I think there's two different private chats. There's the private chat where you disgorge everything that you think, aka Spare, or Diana's Panorama interview all those years ago. There's heartfelt sharing what's going on for us as a family, as per Kate's cancer conversations, the same with the King. So I think anything that's authentic, and if they are going to go down the line of royal with a small r, as William has indicated, that's very much based on being aligned with your audience. And so it's taking the crown off and talking directly to people. And so that more touchy-feely way of speaking, I think, is important. And I think I wonder at the age of the people in this survey, because I think if you ask the younger generations who are very abreast of mental health, anxiety, issues like homelessness and the environment, they very much want to hear from the royals, putting in little bits of personal touch as well. We certainly do, don't we?
And we've talked so many times about how those personal touches have really helped them engage with ordinary Britons rather than being set apart as if like they're never touched by any of these issues which affect ordinary people. I think that's really important. And obviously, Catherine, we haven't seen a whole lot of her this year. There was Wimbledon, there was Trooping the Colour, and we've slowly seen a little bit more of her. Her Carol concert is coming up, and we know that that Windsor Castle, has all of its Christmas decorations out. How's that all looking?
Well, looking wonderful. I mean, I'll address the concert first, Together at Christmas, obviously, which is at Westminster Abbey. It's the 4th year that Kate has hosted this concert, and I think it's probably the most important year for her to host it. It's the time we really want to see her, and the themes are beautiful. It's about empathy and support and really relying on people in your family and how important they are to you in times of trouble and in times of stress. So there's obviously some segues into the estranged family in California, of course, we could draw there, but I think the fact that Kate has, behind the scenes, she's been working on the concert and the songs and making sure everything's running smoothly as well. I think it's a real beacon of hope for her. It's something for her to strive to and to look forward to in a very tough year, extremely tough year. Windsor Castle, the decorations are just amazing. I think it's a 6-foot tree which is going to be into the Great Hall itself, which is beautifully decorated. And I was rather pleased to see that after Christmas it goes back out into Windsor Park and it's replanted, which I thought was amazing.
Right?
Yeah, I thought that was
fabulous. I really quite like
dead trees on both
yeah.
side of the road, which happens to the rest of us if we get a fresh tree. So I thought that was a really nice touch.
They're quite grand trees though, aren't they? I quite like the fact that Carol Middleton gets a bog standard tree from the servo and lets the George, Louis and Charlotte actually decorate themselves, because those perfect trees, they don't have a kid's touch on them at all, do they?
There's 2 trees too. There's one at Crimson Hall, which is slightly smaller, I think 4.5 metres.
Oh, that's
so
divine.
Small. Yeah.
That's divine. But I still think, and I know there's a cost of living crisis and all of that sort of thing, but I think particularly given the nature of this year, I feel like it's a nice way for them to end the year.
Oh, absolutely. Showcasing to us, and it connects us with them, because of course we can't afford a 4-metre tree, but we can feel that festive family time that's so important to them and to us. And it brings a close virtually that the royal family has been suffering all year. To suffer for an entire year, there will be families out there that have gone through the same, and the ability to connect through that and to show some of their lives, and even if they're grander than ours, I think is a very connective force.
And if we stop and think about it for a second, it was Christmas last year was the last time that we saw Princess Catherine at a public event before she went to have her. So it is really that full circle, isn't it?
Very much full circle. And as Louise says, that Christmas Carol event, she created that event. It's very dear to her. We'll see we saw all three children there last year, so hopefully we'll see them again. And it also shows the royal family supporting her, which I think is critical.
Very important. And lastly, one last one. Prince Andrew. I love a Prince Andrew story. He's obviously been a little difficult to extricate from the Royal Lodge, but apparently King Charles has been moving treasures out of Royal Lodge. What on earth is going on?
It's the best. It's almost like you can see Prince Andrew chained to the pool table or something, like, I'm not moving from here. Meanwhile, Charles has sent in all his
drag it all out.
He's taking all the great artworks and things, because the fact is that Royal Lodge was home to reigning monarchs and working royals. George VI, I think it was, lived there. The Queen Mother lived there. It is a royal home, so it's got these artefacts, it's got beautiful artworks worth a lot. Now, of course, that there's a change in how it's going to, the security is going to operate, and you know, the funding of it. We don't know how Andrew has got to stay there. There's sort of murkiness around who is funding his ability to stay in this. Yes, exactly. Very mysterious. But anyway, he appears to have won the battle for now, but Charles getting the last laugh because he's actually getting these royal possessions out of the... who knows? Andrew might have to sell them.
I just think it's such an amazing yarn. I love it. Angela Mollart, Louise Roberts, thank you, ladies, as always.